he would not have time to be with Jesus. The man ain't dead yet. And when Jesus says to him, let the dead bury their dead, he was not being insensitive to what the man said. He was being direct about what he needed to be, what needed to be done. Because when you're fully committed to God, you can't focus on the dead when you've been called to the living. And I'm glad Jesus makes this distinction here now, because even though the father was not even dead yet, the man makes an excuse about burying him because he was looking for a payout, and Jesus was trying to call him out by inviting him in. And sometimes when we look for what we can get before we commit to what Jesus calls us to do, we'll miss the blessings of the call and the greater things that God wants to bring unto us. I need to tell somebody, stop focusing on what you can get from man. Pay attention to the reward that you'll receive from God. Because you're fully committed, and when you're all in, and when you're sold out, and when your mind is made up, you ought to know that the blessings of the Lord maketh rich, and that is no sorrow. I don't know about you, but dead stuff can't commission you, and dead stuff can't honor you, and dead stuff can't bless you, dead stuff can't lift you, and dead stuff can't speak to you. But Jesus said, I come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Jesus called to serve, and you need to pay attention who's calling you, and stop giving focus to who's draining you. We give so much attention to stuff that's draining us. We can't even enjoy the Lord because we're thinking about stuff that's draining us. Sickness on our body, and we say we serve a healer, but it's draining you because you're so worried about it. You're losing your hair, you're losing your mind, losing your focus. Things about to go under, and you're serving a God who does all things well, and you're worried about how it's going to work out and how it's going to come to pass and how it's going to get done. But can I tell you, at the end of the day, whenever you worship God, if you give all of your strength to honoring him and glorifying him, then the rest of the stuff that's trying to pull you down won't have any power over you. You need to learn how to speak to your body and speak to your bank account and speak to your pocketbook and speak to your family and speak over your children and speak in your office, speak in your car, because life and death is in the power of the tongue. When you're fully committed to God, you got to pay attention to the power that you have in your own mouth. Pay attention to who is calling you and what you're called to do, and stop giving energy to what will drain you. Judge Clarence Thomas, you need to give energy to what is called, what you're called to do, and stop giving energy to what pleases you. Judge Samuel Alito, you need to give energy to who called you, what called you, and stop giving energy to what politicians say to do, because your call should always outweigh your own issue. And black folk, we need to wake up and realize that we've been called to speak out, we've been called to stand tall, we've been called to stand in the gap, we've been called to be the hands of Christ, we've been called for the community, we've been called to stop the violence, we've been called to pull down the guns, we've been called to do the work. And while you're focused on the dead, you better wake up and seek what's killing the living. I'm not to shout in this room because we're committed to everything else, but we can't open our mouth and be the hands of Christ. Going to another vigil, lighting another candle. They need to put down them guns. Need to get back our community. You sitting in your house and not doing anything. You don't even pray about it until it hits your family. Then you